Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. I hope you guys are doing well. We're going to check out the Earth change situation. So we see this is out of the Watchers. Geysers may be signaling magma intrusion under Yellowstone caldera. Of course, Yellowstone is one of the biggest single things that could affect the planet, perhaps more than just about any other natural disaster. And you see here, Steamboat Geyser in Wyoming is the world's tallest active geyser, which sometimes blasts water 300 feet in the air. At times, the geyser stays quiet for years. Then it abruptly bursts back to life, a behavior that has been puzzling scientists. A new study, along with an analysis by volcanologist Eric Clementi, delves into this restless behavior to understand what prompts deformation around the caldera and how it might be connected to Steamboat Geyser. So what they have found here is that it may be showing that there is a magma intrusion. That doesn't mean that we're going to have a super volcano go off any day now, but there has been a lot of unusual activity going with Steamboat Geyser. So we must always, if we are living anywhere in this globe, keep an eye on Yellowstone, because this is truly the big one that could change everything on the planet very, very quickly. And meanwhile, we have over here Tropical Storm Cristobal, which has been dropping tons of rain in Mexico, some areas as much as 30 inches of rain potentially. And they are forecasting it to form and then strengthen over here and head towards New Orleans. Yes, weed me. Our good family member Weed Me out there, as he's been saying, y'all got to get out of New Orleans. Well, that's what Weed Me says. But this should not be a very strong storm. But then again, how many times have they said that this should not be a strong storm? And then we've seen rapid intensification, because these are totally different times. And so we're going to definitely take a peek at this. As you see, it'll be approaching Louisiana according to the forecast now. Of course, this is subject to change. So if you're anywhere from Texas to even the panhandle of Florida, I would keep an eye open. And we'll keep an eye on Cristobal. There is a rare derecho that kills 3 and cuts power to more than 500,000 people in the mid-Atlantic. So derecho literally means like straight line, like a straight line windstorm. And that is exactly what happened. Very, very powerful winds, gusting up to 71 miles an hour in some spots. We've seen that, and we've talked about that also at length. And when we look at the Adam and Eve story, which was something that was classified by the FBI and the CIA, and it talks about what has happened in the past and what may potentially happen in the future with the fact that we are in a magnetic pole reversal, and what happens if there is actually crustal displacement that happens, as if the crust is going to catch up to the magnetic poles. Now, many scientists will tell you that will never happen. Then others like Velikovsky and Hapgood would say, oh yeah, it does. So again, it's a case where each must make up their own mind as to what they feel deep down with taking in all this information and then feeling with what your gut says. But in the Adam and Eve story, he talks about winds in excess of 300 miles an hour and potentially at the time of the crustal displacement, perhaps even hitting speeds of up to 1,000 miles an hour, in which really nothing on the surface would really make it past that point. So this is so curious. Scientists detect super flares 10 million times more energetic than those on the sun. We're getting all this new science coming at us left and right so fast right now. They're barraging us with things. So are they trying to condition us, trying to convince us of devastation that's coming? We've heard of Douglas Vogt, Diehold Foundation, talking about the sun nova-ing on a regular basis, perhaps every 12,000 years. Of course, we had the Adam and Eve story by Chan Thomas talking about the same sort of thing going on. Well, and we keep getting this new science as well. I'm always suspicious about all of this, honestly, and try to weigh the science and also look at if there's any hidden agendas out there as well. We all know about global warming and carbon tax and all that. So a superflare is a very strong explosion observed on stars, which is 10,000 times more powerful than solar flares that disable satellites and knock out electric power grids on Earth. Scientists earlier believed that old stellar objects like our sun did not produce them. Recent evidence suggests that these processes may occur, but very rarely. An international team of scientists has spotted superflares that are 10 million times more energetic than those coming from the sun, using the most technologically advanced telescopes at the ESO, which is the European Southern Observatory located in Chile. They examined stellar objects called extreme horizontal branch stars that are found in so-called globular clusters. EHB stars have half the mass of the sun, but are 4 or even 5 times hotter, with the maximum temperatures reaching 35,000 degrees Fahrenheit. These hot and small stars are special because we know they will bypass one of the final phases in the life of a typical star and die prematurely. So they are saying that these can emit huge, powerful blasts. So, it makes me suspicious. Like, are they at some point in time going to say one of them is heading our way? Well, we shall see. SpaceX launch. Elon Musk's firm to launch 60 satellites into space tonight. He's trying to get his tens of thousands, or maybe it's going to be hundreds of thousands of satellites up there. Obliterating our view of the sky. And who knows what else they're really doing up there. There's lots of thoughts on that. Lots and lots of thoughts on that for sure. And here we see record-breaking heat. It's going to spread eastward from the Mid-Atlantic, from the Midwest to the Mid-Atlantic. As we see here, a warming trend going on. And we're going to have some cities farther north that have already experienced 90-degree temperatures, which occurred last week, such as Caribou, Maine, Saranac Lake, New York, Burlington, Vermont, beautiful little town, love Burlington. Just a few, Caribou, Maine, and Saranac, New York, then had a frost on Monday and Tuesday mornings of the week. So you get 90-degree temperatures, then you get a frost. That's the type of extremes that we have. And here we have a strong 6.8 quake. This is hit in Chile. Thankfully, no lives lost, no major damage. That was a pretty good-sized quake. And taking a look, we see here, there's been a couple of aftershocks. We see a 4.6, and then we see a 4.1 off to the west as well. Very active zone, of course, as well, as you see right on the fault line there. And then we still have basically the same situation going. Oh, that looks like a new one in there. On the west coast, this one, wow, we just had a 5.5 in Ridgecrest, Searles Valley. This just happened because I looked at this map like 10 minutes ago. 5.5, keep an eye on that one. Ridgecrest, obviously, it's been swarming since, when we had the big one last year there. And, of course, this whole area is very, very interesting with the Garlock Fault that goes through here. Puts pressure on the San Andreas. And, I really feel it's going to be Cascadia first, San Andreas pretty much immediately after when it does go. And we see Cascadia is quiet as can be. You see Oregon's been really quiet, honestly, and we have some activity going on around Washington. We still have some swarming in Idaho. We have some over towards Yellowstone activity down into Salt Lake and Utah. And we still have over 200 quakes basically in Nevada as we look at this. And the swarming still going on west of Tonopah over towards Mono Lake. And so, 5.5 in the Searles Valley. That's the biggest I've seen there in a while. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. So severe cyclonic storm, Nisarga, makes historic landfall close to Mumbai, India. And this one had maximum sustained winds up to 70 miles an hour, gust over 75. Yeah, it's always about the rain as well. And here you have storm surge anywhere from 3.3 to 6.6 feet. Could cause some local flooding. And I got 21 things you should have in your car vehicle at all times. Just don't know in these times when you're going to have to bug out. A backpack, a well-stocked backpack as well. A blanket, most definitely. Cash, as a kid, when I was a teenager, I always keep an extra $20 tucked away under the dashboard. Just in case, just so emergency gas money or what have you. Cat litter. Cat litter? Yes, cat litter. Put it on ice. Clothes, extra clothes, good idea. Yesterday we were offloading water because we have to haul water. And one of the containers slipped and I got soaked and realized, dang, I got no more shoes right here with me. So it was soaked feet for quite a while. Fire starting devices, first aid kit, a flag, to flag down people if you had to. Flares, again, get attention if you have to. Flashlight, food, GPS device, a gun, some way to protect yourself. You just don't know. Knife. Jumper cables, really good idea. Medical mask, nowadays, yeah. Paracord, you could do almost anything with it. Personal hygiene kit as well. Hand sanitizer, keep it in there. Prescription medications, if you do take that, which I haven't taken prescription medications in like 30 years. Not a single one at 55 years old. Shovel, you never know when you got to dig your way out of a trouble. And then water as well. So just some things to keep in mind. Thank you guys so much for being part of the family and supporting us over on Patreon and also on Ko-Fi. We can't do it without you. As always, guys, stay safe and prepared. God bless and namaste.